Welcome to YK Paintball, and today we'll be doing a comparison video of the Dye Rotor LT-R and the Virtue Spire IR. The reason I've decided to compare these two is I think they are probably the most direct competitors, probably the best, more budget loaders out there right now. They're not budget in the sense that they're like the cheapest ones on the market, but if you're someone who's looking to get a little bit more serious, a little bit more competitive, these are your budget options for that kind of more serious player. They are both the little brother, so to speak, of their more high-end counterparts. And so the Dye Rotor LTR, there's the Dye Rotor R2, and then for the Virtue Spire IR, there's the Spire 3. They're both priced at right around $100, and they're both very good loaders. The Virtue Spire IR, if you are interested in a more in-depth review that kind of goes over everything, and you can see how it performs when I'm shooting a marker, you can check out my Spire IR review video, which I will link below. And so the Rotor LTR was my personal loader back when I was playing like more competitively, and I used it for about 2-ish years. It worked really well. At the time that the Rotor came out, it was the best Rotor, I think, hands. I don't think there was any competition at that point. It was far and away the easiest to take apart. It was really reliable. It wasn't nearly as finicky as like the Velocity or the Halo B, which the Halo B, by the time the Rotor came out, I think was like a pretty ancient piece of technology. And so at the time, the Dye Rotor, the R1, which is now just the LTR, was like hands down the best loader. I really liked it when I was using it. But now we've got like a whole mess of loaders, and we've got some really good competitors to the Rotor, like the Spire IR. The three things really that are the same about the two loaders is that they are very easy to disassemble, as all high-end loaders are nowadays. None is like noticeably easier to take apart than the other. They're both very, very high quality loaders. They're both made out of clearly like nice materials. You hold both of them and you can tell that they're a really well put together product. And then the third thing is that they both work really, really well. They both feed consistently, they do what you need them to do, they get the job done. So those are the three things, and I think those are the three most important things, honestly, you could look for in a loader. There are some small differences that are worth pointing out though. When it comes to how soft the loaders are on paint, I don't have any like kind of direct evidence. I haven't done like a study on it or anything like that. But supposedly the IR is actually softer on paint than the Rotor. Like I said, I used the Rotor for 2 years. I have had paint bust in the hopper. And I think that might largely be due to the difference in how it knows what to feed. The Spire IR uses infrared eyes, so all you need to do is like not have anything breaking the eyes for the IR to feed. Whereas the Rotor uses the kind of tension, compression, pressure-based system where it's kind of constantly putting pressure on the balls, and when there's no pressure, no pushback because there's no paint there, that's when it knows to spin. And I think that little bit of pressure can sometimes like break really brittle paint. Like I said, I've had paint bust in the Rotor. I've only put 5 or so cases through the Spire IR, but I haven't had any paint bust then. But you know, there's a very large difference between 2 years using a piece of equipment and only 5 or so cases. That's the first difference, is the softness on the paint. The second is the feed rate. I believe that the Spire IR is actually a slower feeding hopper than the Rotor, but that's not going to make any appreciable difference. Most fields are playing at like 10.5 balls per second tops now. That's what all the tournaments are at. You're not going to need to feed anything faster. In the video I accidentally shot at, in the videos that you'll see, the feed videos, I accidentally shot at NXL 18, and the loader kept up. You can see it going at like 16 to 17 BPS, so maybe that was at the upper limit of the Spire, but it was keeping up fine. You're not ever going to be shooting that fast anymore. We're not at 15 BPS, which I think this will be able to keep up with anyways. But that's one thing to note, is that the Rotor is, I think, technically a faster feeding loader. Another difference is the spring ramp. So show you what a spring ramp is. The Rotor actually comes with the spring ramp. This is the spring ramp because it's a ramp with a spring. And what it does is when you are low on paint and there's a kind of a few balls bouncing around in there, the ramp helps it feed into the actual loading bit. The Rotor comes with the spring ramp, but the Spire does not, and it costs about $10. So that's kind of a value determination. So technically, right, if you want to compare directly the Spire IR to the Dye Rotor, it's $110 to $100 because you have the extra $10 for the spring ramp. Then the last difference is jamming. Like I said, I've only shot around 5 cases through this, but I've never had it jam. Whereas with the Dye Rotor, I did have it jam a handful of times. I think the Spire system is supposed to be less prone to jamming. I've heard from other people that their Spires jam a lot less than the Rotors. But look, I haven't done any personal kind of experience with that other than the 5 cases and no jams. Yeah, those are the differences. And if you need just like an answer of which one to pick, I don't have a good one. If the things like softness on paint and like the occasional jam is like a huge issue for you, then get the Spire IR. If you want that faster feed rate for whatever reason, go for the Rotor. But you can flip a coin to pick one and you're gonna have a really, really good piece of equipment either way. So thanks for watching the video. If you guys like it, hit like or subscribe. I know Milo and I will appreciate it. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I can be found at YK_paintball. I'm posting all of my little paintball adventures and stuff that I'm doing there, so if that's something you want to see, just follow me on Instagram. Thanks.